You know what's awesome? What? Voting. I fucking love voting. You get the pen, you do all the marks, you get a sticker. Participating in the democratic process, fulfilling your civic duty, all that. Super good stuff. The only bummer about voting is I just feel like I always have all these questions, like, when am I voting? Where am I voting? Luckily, there's resources that can help answer all of those questions and even more. Places like vote.org, they're a nonprofit that has everything you could ever want to know about voting listed on their website. Voter registration, all the ways you can vote, and even deadlines and guidelines by state. Well, it says here the next election's November 3rd. That's pretty close. That's right. Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020. Probably one of the most important elections of our entire lives. Please vote. Hey, what's up? I'm Liz, the Split State DIY, and this is the MIDI Melody Maker. It's a project that's a collab with Noe Ruiz for Adafruit, and what it does is it generates MIDI notes with a few controllable parameters, and that allows you to automate your MIDI synths. And we're actually going to go over what those parameters are right now. Okay, so first off, looking at the front here, we've got a latching switch, and that's what either causes the program to run or to stop. So let's... We've got 5 potentiometers, 4 rotary, and 1 slider. And the slider is literally the heartbeat for this box because it controls BPM. This first pot here controls what key we're in. You can see that right there. So go up to D, A sharp, all of them. We'll stay in C for now. And this pot here controls the mode. Right now we're just doing a scale, so it's just going up, but you can also do triads. Fifths, get some Bach going. Random, which is pretty fun for jamming. And this bottom pot determines beat division, which basically determines the length of the value that each note's played for. So that can be, right now we're on quarter note, but it can go whole note, which means 1 beat per measure, half note, quarter, eighth, 16th, or random, which is just a randomized mix. And the final pot over here controls modulation. It sends MIDI CC messages for mod. And so all that info is displayed on this OLED here. And a tiny Blinka sprite actually slithers along with the BPM and beat division, which I think is a nice visual cue. So if we go back to something a little bit more standard, you can choose she's going. And that can make it faster too. So all of that is running on a Feather M4, and it's written in CircuitPython. And you can have it be USB MIDI out, or you can do 5-DIN traditional MIDI out using the MIDI Feather wing, which is pretty great. And that wing also has options for 3.5mm jack MIDI, which has become fairly standardized recently. So if you have a setup using that, you can do that too. But truly what makes this project, I think, is the enclosure. And that is all Noe magic. He designed and milled, in this case, out of acrylic and wood, so that they slot nicely together. The bottom even has this really nice CircuitPython engraving for art, which I think is just so great. And the final shiny touch are these vinyl decals they cut out with a Cricut and place it on just to emphasize different things, and also to label the MIDI in and out, which is just, I think it's great. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. It's just so aesthetically pleasing, and I think it's some of his best work. He always does amazing work, but this is just truly a lovely enclosure. And also, when you're using music hardware, like, the enclosure definitely defines the experience you're going to have using it. So having something so nice with such a nice layout and just really good sizing too, I think it's wonderful. And there is going to be a Learn Guide for this project, so you'll be able to go there, access all the files and details and walkthroughs for the milling and the design files and the code and the circuit diagram and everything you could want to make your own, or maybe build on it for your own project. This is definitely something that can be modified for what you're looking for. So the reason why I wanted to make this, like why I even tried to do this, was I had my Euro rack set up in mind, and specifically Winterbloom's Soul module, which takes in MIDI data and sends it out as CV messages, so you can control all your synths. And so what's cool about that is you can use a MIDI keyboard to play live, which I do enjoy doing and having the ability to do with the module, but synths do benefit from automation, and it lets you kind of get more into the zone with stuff. And so something like this makes it so that I can send melodic patterns and everything on the fly, which just kind of gives me a little bit more freedom when I'm playing with my Eurorack stuff. And as I said, this is very customizable. Like, I kind of kept things fairly stock in the ideas here, where we have like the 7 keys and those are the notes that are available, and like the patterns are kind of like pretty standard too, like scales, triad stuff, but you could program whatever you wanted this thing to do. Basically, there's really no limit. You could even, technically, if you really want to, program an entire song. I'm not sure if I would recommend that, but you could. Like, it's very customizable, and I'll probably customize things as I go as well. But that's going to do it for this video, MIDI Melody Maker. I'll have links down in the description for everything if you want to build your own, or you're just curious how this thing is working in a little bit more detail. Thank you for watching, and until next time, this has been Blitz City DIY.